Hey guys, it's DT back with another monster unboxing. As you can see, we've got two big boxes today, nothing but Venom and Batman. Yes, we are going to answer the question, what if Bruce Wayne became Venom? I couldn't decide whether I wanted to wear a Marvel or DC shirt, so I'm wearing Transformers. So this is a quarter scale custom statue. I've been waiting quite a while for this one. Really excited to check this thing out, so let's open it up. I think I'm gonna put this on the ground, get everything out on the table, and then we'll take a look at some of the pieces in detail. All right guys, so here's everything you get. Surprisingly, there aren't a lot of pieces. Usually with Venoms, you get a lot of little symbiote pieces, but this one is relatively simple. We've got two big cape pieces, a little piece for the back of the cape. We have Batman right here, a portrait, and the base. Let me give you guys a closer look at some of these pieces. Some of this stuff looks really cool. Here is a look at the Venomized Batman portrait. As you can see, we've got the big Batman ears, a nice teethy grin, Venomized eyes. We have a flatter finish on the outsides of a lot of these parts, and then we also have this glossier symbiote-like finish on some of these interior parts. Relatively straight teeth for a Venom statue. Then we got these kind of red gums or lips. Kind of gives me some Joker vibes. Very squared off mouth. That's probably to give us a feel of having that Batman cowl. Here is a look at Batman. This thing is very heavy. Same thing, we've got the flatter areas, and then we have these glossier areas inside. Really gives us the feel of that moving symbiote or kind of like muscles or tendons. Then up here we have the bat symbol, kind of made out of webbing. Up close it's kind of hard to see a bat. You can kind of make out the bat ears there, the wings on the side. Nicely sculpted abs, all that symbiote action going on in there. Really accentuates the musculature. Same thing going down here with the quads. And then the bat feet here. We don't have any Venom claws, we've got Batman boots on. And then on the back, kind of got the same thing going on here. We're not going to see any of this area because the cape is going to cover it. And as you can see, we cannot display this thing without the cape because the arms are part of the cape. There was an option to purchase just the Batman without the cape, where you could see all the details in his arms. However, I think the cape is a giant part of this statue. But again, same cool effect going on with the cape. Got all these sticky alien goo pieces. It's got some weight, but it's not super heavy, like some of those heavier 1/3 scale Batman capes that I've had to deal with that weigh a ton. One big piece for one side. Here's another big piece for the other side. And if you look closely, you can kind of see where Batman's arm is right here. And then if you look over here, something that doesn't really look like a cape, and that's because it kind of doubles as a tongue. And these frayed pieces right here double as teeth. And you'll see how that whole thing comes together in a bit. If you haven't already figured it out or seen this piece. I think that's one of the coolest parts of this statue. Then we get this piece, and this piece kind of just stretches over his lower legs. Then we've got a couple pieces for the base. This is a little bat that attaches to the front of the base. Got some nice texturing detail going on there in the wings. Also in these sharp little teeth here. He's missing an ear to give us that weathered look. But that whole thing, it's got a giant magnetic key there on the back. And that part attaches to the bigger part of the base right here. So we got rooftop base, got an L-shaped little platform that Batman keys into, and it's a lighter gray, so it contrasts with the almost completely black Batman. But on the back here, we've got this cool Joker head, and this thing is big, and it is venomized as well. Well, with all this green and purple symbiote. Over here, we've got the ha ha ha, also written in symbiote, but a really cool little sculpture there on the back that you might never see. Some brick over here, a little splash of color to go along with that cool little Easter egg bust in the back. All right, so on the bottom it says Venomized Batman. We got the edition size over here. They made 65 of these, and this one is number 11. That was a close-up look at all the pieces. Let's go ahead and put this thing together. Throw the base up here. All right, so this piece right here just connects up here in the front. We get Venom. It's got a peg on the left, key on the right. Got his head up on top. We got the right side here. We got a big key right there. The back of the cape kind of just wraps around the back. And then we have this side, similar situation. And now all we're left with is this piece right here. There is a little key right here on the back of his right calf, and also one on the back of the left calf as well. And just goes like that. And here you go, Venomized Batman. Let's take a closer look at this beast. Again, we have a little rooftop corner. We have this nice bat gargoyle out here, and having it protrude out in front kind of works as an extra front support to handle all the weight that is coming off the front of this statue. We've got some nice details in the stonework. Maybe they could have had a little bit more detail in this front portion of stone. The surface he's standing on is also pretty flat. There are some nice cracks in there. I also kind of like rooftops to be a little bit thicker. This little surface right here is relatively thin. Usually I like them a little bit chunkier. And then here on the back side, love the Joker head. In most cases, you're not gonna see it. Everything on the back of this base is kind of an extra bonus. So I'm not gonna complain about anything. Let's move on to the big boy, Bat Venom. This thing looks even better in person than it did in pictures. We've got Bat Venom. We kind of went over some of the details on his body. I love the pose. He's got a very simple pose where he's just standing straight up and down, and I think it works great. Again, I love the contrast between the matte and gloss. I think it really gives this thing some life. I love the sculpt here in the side of the cape. We can still see the shapes of Batman's hands, little fins in his forearms. If you guys haven't seen it already, here is kind of the coolest feature of this statue, and it is when you turn Batman to the side. If you catch it from the right angle, you can see Venom's head, Venom's little profile here. On the left side, we have the tongue and the top set of teeth, and then over here on the right side of the cape, we get the eyes and the lower jaw. So I thought that was very clever how they did that. When you look at it from the front, we get all the crazy twisting symbiote tendrils, but it's not till we move it to the side that we can actually see Venom's face. Now, if you turn it to the other side, it still looks cool, but you don't get the same effect. Very cool how the symbiote, you can see, is kind of crawling up the cape here. I love how the cape is kind of shredded all over the place. Even if it didn't have that extra Easter egg, I think this would be a very cool cape. The cape kind of wraps around the back of him. It's kind of like a giant blanket with a lot of holes in it. You can kind of see where everything kind of joins together. I don't know if they could have done that a little bit better. It doesn't bother me too much because it is on the back of the statue. They did do a pretty good job with the seam line on the neck. You don't really notice that, especially when looking straight on. Having a mouth that's really square like that looks a little bit funny just because nobody has a square mouth. But like I said, I think it's kind of to go along with that whole shape of Batman's cowl. It might have been nice to have a big open mouth screaming portrait, which I'm a big fan of, maybe with a giant tongue. I like the simplicity of this one. So I think the ideal way to display this guy would be on some sort of shelf where you can see the front of him, but also be able to walk around and see the side as well. Okay, let's get a few measurements. The height of this thing from the bottom of the base to the tippy tip of his ear is about 31 inches. The depth of it is a little bit hard to measure. We're looking from the back of this point of the base to the tip of this tendril right here. Tip of the cape, which is another, say around 31-ish inches. And then the width, if you display this thing face on like this, we're looking from one point of the cape to the other, which is roughly 27 inches. The depth of the base, from the tip of the nose of this bat to the rear of the base, is roughly 18 and a half inches, 19 inches. So you're gonna need a pretty big shelf for this thing. But I love this piece. Just another quarter scale version of Batman for my collection. I don't know how many more quarter scale Batman I can fit in my collection. I already have a bunch of quarter scale Wolverines, but again, Wolverine is a lot shorter than Batman. So that was a look at the Venomized Batman. Really cool piece. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Stay tuned. I've got a lot more statues coming up, things I am working through box by box in my garage. You'll be seeing all that someday. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.